everyone, my name is Kiara, aka Kiara's Bookshelf, and today I will be filming my May reading wrap-up. I read a total of 4 books this month, and they consist of romance, fantasy, and thrillers. So the first book that I read this month was And Don't Look Back by Rebecca Barrow, and this is about Haro Ford, who had never had a normal life. She is always moving with her mom, and she never knew why, and it was always for unexplained reasons. And one day, during a move, they are in the car, and the mom actually gets into a really, really bad car accident, and she ends up passing away. The problem is, she told Haro to run, and to just keep running. She can never go back to her original home. She can never go back to her school, and her mom just never explained why. And this was a really, really interesting book. I found myself honestly confused a lot during the story, but I was also really, really intrigued, especially because Haro ends up going to her mom's hometown, and she ends up going to the house that her mom grew up in. It's a big deal for Haro because she never knew anything about her mom, like how she grew up and things like that, and the fact that she was able to find this house was a really big deal for her. This book has a lot of twists and turns, and the one thing that I don't like about this book is that I feel like it should have been kind of explained a little more. I definitely, while I was reading it, I was definitely wondering, there were multiple theories that I thought about how this book was going to end and where this book was going. There were times where I thought it was a ghost story. There was a time where I thought it was a murder mystery. And overall, I'm just going to say it's thriller, because I don't want to give spoilers on what it's actually about. But yeah, the one thing I do wish is that it was just, I guess, explained more, and that the plot was kind of laid out a little better. I feel like this book is not big at all, at all. And I feel like maybe if the book was a tiny bit bigger, if it had a few more pages, it's in 300 page realm, at least 320 pages. Maybe if it were 50 pages more, it could have, I guess, filled in a lot of plot holes and stuff. But overall, I give this 3.5 out of 5 stars, which isn't bad, but it isn't great. But honestly, I wouldn't read this again. Next, I decided to pick up A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas, and this is kind of like a novella in the ACOTAR series. This is a really, really nice break from A Court of Wings and Ruin because there's no really big battle scenes and stuff. It's kind of I think it takes place during Christmas time. They call it winter solstice. And I know a lot of people thought this book was boring, but honestly, I think this book does a really, really good job of setting up the plot for A Court of Silver Flames, which, for some people who don't know, A Court of Silver Flames is a book strictly about Nesta and Cassian, I believe was his name, and it's really, really good. It's kind of like an extra couple of pages for you to kind of spend time with Rhys and Feyre. But yeah, I think it's just a nice shifting point where it's I don't know, I love Feyre and Rhys, and I definitely think they were my favorite couple in the ACOTAR series, 100%. But I will say, this was kind of set up to make it feel really refreshing to hear about Nesta and Cassian, so that was really, really good. I really loved this book because, well, for one, you got to see Feyre kind of be her own person, I guess. She was kind of, in this, she found an art studio, and she started to paint again, which was a really, really big deal in the first book, and she didn't really get to paint a lot in the series, and a lot of it was due to trauma and stuff, so it was really, really good for her to find this art studio. And I don't know, I just think it's just really nice, like, a nice reminder that, Feyre is her own person, outside of Rhysand, and, all of their friends, and it's really, really nice. And I don't know, I feel like this book also made me really, really excited for A Court of Silver Flames. To be honest, Nesta just never interested me, and I always had an interest in Feyre and Elaine. But this book kind of made me, I guess, like, warm up to Nesta a little bit more, and it made me excited to, like, learn about her story. And honestly, I would reread this book strictly just because of how fun it is. There's, like, a tiny bit of smut, which is why I tabbed, and I was actually surprised by that. I didn't think that would be in it, but it was actually, like, really, really good. And if you like that type of stuff, then, definitely check it out. And I'm not really sure. I guess you could say this book was kind of crucial, like, to pick up in the ACOTAR series, because I know a lot of people, think novellas aren't necessary, but because this book kind of sets up A Court of Silver Flames so well, I do think it's necessary that you buy this. Of course, after finishing A Court of Frost and Starlight, I had to pick up A Court of Silver Flames, which is the final book in the ACOTAR series so far. I know Sarah J. Maas has hinted that she will be writing other books for this, so I guess the series is officially unfinished, which is actually really, really exciting. Now, I do want to say that I actually DNF'd this book almost at 600 pages. I got really, really far, but after a while, I became really, really bored. So, as I said before, this is, yes, Nesta and Cassian's book, and I don't know, I think because Nesta is, like, while A Court of Frost and Starlight made me like Nesta a little more than I did before, she honestly is not my favorite, and she never will be my favorite, because honestly, it's just her personality. Like, I feel like she's very mean, and I know it's, like, in a misunderstanding type of way, but I think it kind of takes away from, like, her character development at times. Granted, in this book, she did come a long way, and I really, really liked how important she was and how connected she was to the cauldron and things like that. But ultimately, I found myself getting really bored with the story. I felt like after a while, it started to drag on, and I kind of didn't care about anything. I will say the only thing I actually liked were the fight scenes. Not like a battle type of scene. I mean, Nesta and Cassian were, like, training together, and Nesta also kind of, I guess, recruited the women in the library to train, and that was a really big deal for them because in the library housed, like, women who went through, like, really, really bad trauma, like, worse than Nesta's. So I did like that, the training ended up helping some of the women out, and it was really, really fun to see Nesta actually, like, form friendships and kind of, like, separate herself from Feyre in that way. Like, that was really, really good. I think this book did a really, really good job with that, but I just didn't care about anything else, which is really, really sad. I will say, this is Nesta's book, but Sarah J. Maas did say that Feyre is pregnant, which I thought was actually really, really interesting, and I kind of wish that was mentioned in the previous books. But she just got pregnant with Rhysand's baby, and there was, like, this big fear that the baby would have wings, and I liked that they did that because they kind of hinted that there was a chance Feyre could die. Now, I didn't finish the book, so I actually don't know what happened with that storyline, but that was interesting. But I will say Rhysand became my least favorite character from this book. 100%. I feel like I loved Rhysand in all of the books, but in this one, he was very, very mean. And only to Nesta. Like, to Feyre, he was fine, of course. But, I don't know, like, I think I kind of get why Rhysand was always mean to Nesta, but I feel like he could have cut her a bit of slack because he saw firsthand what she went through, the same as everyone else. And I don't know, I feel like because Nesta's Feyre's sister, you know, Feyre is his wife and all that, like, he should have been more compassionate. So that was the only thing I really he was just really cold and just like very like I don't care what happens to Nesta type of vibe, and it was really, really weird. I really, really like Cassian. Cassian has become my favorite of, I think they're called the Bat Boys. I have no idea if that was the right book where she did that. But yeah, Cassian was my absolute favorite, and of course Azriel is second. But yeah, I really like Cassian. I think he's really, really good for Nesta because he challenges her, and he doesn't, like, he sees her as a person. Like, she's not like this horrible, like, evil person that everybody else sees her as, and that's really, really good. And I think he challenges her, and that's amazing. Like, he's just very like, I know your potential and I'm not giving up until you see that type. And I think that's really, really good. I think they go really well together, and I feel like they definitely needed each other. Nesta needed him more than he needed her, in my opinion. But yeah, so I honestly, as I'm talking about it, I will say I do kind of want to try to read this book again, and clearly start where I had left off, just to see what happens. But I definitely I think the action in it was my least favorite in this book. Like, I just really cared more about the personal relationship aspect in this book compared to the other books in the ACOTAR series, which was surprising because I really liked the action in the previous books. So, after finishing A Court of Silver Flames, I decided I would take a small break from Sarah J. Maas before I start on the Crescent City 3 book. So I decided to pick up Arya Khanna's Bollywood Moment, which is a romance. I'm pretty sure this is a YA, and honestly, I love this book so, so much. I will say this book is a 5 out of 5 stars, okay? I think this book has made me want to start reading more romance. I definitely will start collecting more romance books, 100%. And it was just so cute and light, especially after reading A Court of Silver Flames. Like, this was just, it was like a breath of fresh air to kind of, like, jump out of the fantasy world and into, like, I guess, like, the real world of the setting of this book. So this book is about Arya Khanna, an Indian American student who is in high school, and her love interest, Dean. This is kind of like an academics rivals to lovers type of book, and it's so, so cute. It takes place around like fall, I believe, and it's like they're on a student council together, and they're like always like butting heads with each other and things like that. And it was a really, really cute book, a really, really light book. And I like that the subplot was like that her sister is getting married, and there was like a lot of family drama in this book, which I really didn't expect, but I really, really liked it. I feel like if you like the show Never Have I Ever on Netflix, you will absolutely like this book. It has really, really good representation too. Like, they mentioned a lot of like Indian dishes and like Bollywood films and things like that. And I thought it was really, really cool to read about. And I don't know, I feel like this book was a page turner, and I really, really wish that it was longer because I was really sad when I finished it. But yeah, this book pretty much kickstarted my romance era. Like, I need more books like this. I really, really love rom-coms, like movies, so I don't know why I never thought to pick up more romance books. So yeah, I definitely recommend this book, and this book is 100% 5 out of 5 stars. So this has been my May reading wrap. I really, really hope that you enjoyed it, and please stay tuned for more videos. If you read any of these books, please let me know what you thought of them. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions, and please stay tuned for more videos because I will be uploading every single week. I believe I'm going to start posting consistently every Wednesday. Hopefully I can stick to it. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and if you have recommendations for videos I could do, please feel free to comment them down below as well.